I found the restaurant receipt at 2 in the morning. I had just come home from my second job. My feet were swollen, my back hurt, and my hands smelled like fryer oil. And there it was, folded inside my husband's coat pocket. A dinner receipt for two. $386. Paid at a rooftop restaurant in downtown Chicago. The same night he told me he ate cereal for dinner. I stood in our laundry room, still wearing my black server apron, staring at that little white paper like it had slapped me across the face. The dryer was humming beside me. Our dog, Milo, was asleep near the back door. The house was dark and quiet. Too quiet. Because for months, Jason had been telling me we were drowning. He said our credit cards were maxed out. He said the mortgage was becoming dangerous. He said the medical bills from his knee surgery had hit harder than expected. He said we both needed to sacrifice. So I sacrificed. I was 39 years old, working full-time as an office manager for a dental clinic, and 3 nights a week, I waited tables at a sports bar near O'Hare. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself marriage meant carrying the heavy end when your partner was tired. Jason called it our tight season. That was his phrase. We just have to tighten up for a while, he would say. No vacations. No dinners out. No extra spending. We fix this together. Together. That word had kept me going. Every time I came home after midnight with sore legs, I would whisper it to myself while counting crumpled tips at the kitchen table. Together. When my coworkers ordered lunch, I packed leftovers. When my sister invited me to Nashville for her birthday, I said no. When my winter boots split at the seam, I duct-taped the inside and kept walking. Because we were saving the marriage. Because we were fixing the debt. Because that was what I believed. Jason was already asleep when I found the receipt. At least, I thought he was. His coat had been thrown over a chair in the mudroom, still damp from the rain. I was doing laundry because he had mentioned, casually, that he needed his navy sweater clean for a client meeting in the morning. Even exhausted, I did it. That is the part one hate remembering. How automatic my care had become. I checked the pockets before washing his coat. Keys. A gas receipt. 2 mint wrappers. Then the folded paper. At first, I thought it was another bill. My stomach tightened before I even opened it. But it was not a bill. It was worse. The restaurant was called Maribel. I knew it because I had once sent Jason a link to it. 2 years earlier, on our anniversary. I had said, maybe someday. He had laughed and said, for those prices, someday better come with a lottery ticket. Now he had been there. Without me. There were 2 cocktails on the receipt. 2 entrees. 1 chocolate dessert. And 1 bottle of wine that cost more than I made in an entire shift. I read the date again. Friday, October 18th. That night, I had worked a double. Jason had texted me at 8:14 p.m. Don't push yourself too hard. Proud of you, babe. I remember smiling at that message behind the bar while my feet throbbed in cheap shoes. I had thought he saw me. I had thought he appreciated what I was doing. Now I wondered if he had typed it with one hand while holding a wine glass in the other. My chest went tight. I walked slowly into the kitchen and turned on the light. The brightness felt cruel. I placed the receipt on the counter and stared at it. Maybe it was business, I told myself. Maybe a client paid him back. Maybe there was an explanation that did not make me feel stupid. That was always where my mind went first. Not to anger. To rescue. I wanted to save him from the evidence. Even before he opened his mouth. Then I noticed something handwritten at the bottom. A small note in blue ink. Thank you, Jason. She loved the earrings. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. Earrings. Not a client. Not a meeting. Not debt. A woman. I gripped the edge of the counter so hard my fingers hurt. Upstairs, I heard the floor creak. Jason was awake. I quickly folded the receipt and slid it into the back pocket of my jeans. I do not know why. Maybe some part of me already understood that if I showed him too soon, he would turn the whole thing around on me. He walked into the kitchen wearing sweatpants and that tired, innocent face I knew so well. Hey, he said softly. You're home late. I looked at him. The man I had been breaking myself for. The man who told me we could not afford takeout. The man whose coat smelled faintly like expensive perfume. Yeah, I said. Long shift. He opened the fridge and took out the filtered water pitcher. No good tips. I almost laughed. He asked it like my tips still belonged to us. Like every dollar I earned was another brick in the wall he was secretly climbing over. They were okay, I said. He kissed my forehead. I stood completely still. His lips touched my skin, and I felt nothing but cold. Then he said, "Make sure you deposit the cash tomorrow. The card payment hits Monday." The card payment. Our debt. Our tight season. I nodded because I did not trust my voice. He went back upstairs. And I stayed in the kitchen until his footsteps disappeared. Then I pulled out my phone and opened our banking app. For the first time in months, I did not look at the balance. I looked at the transactions. And that was when I saw the Airbnb charge. The Airbnb charge was for $612. Not a mortgage payment. Not a credit card payment. Not one of the medical bills Jason kept mentioning. $612 for a one-night stay. In Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. I stared at the screen so long my eyes started burning. Lake Geneva was only 2 hours from Chicago. Close enough for a secret. Far enough to feel like another life. The date was October 18th. The same night as the rooftop restaurant. The same night I worked 14 hours. The same night Jason texted me that he was proud of me. My thumb hovered over the transaction. I tapped it. The details opened. There was no name attached, only the amount, the date, and the merchant. But my body did not need more. My body already knew. Dinner. Wine. Earrings. Airbnb. A whole night. While I was pouring beers for men watching football highlights, my husband was taking another woman away for the weekend. I sat down at the kitchen table. Not because I wanted to. Because my legs stopped working. The house around me looked the same as always. The unpaid electric bill was clipped to the fridge. My work shoes were by the back door. Jason's lunch container sat in the sink because he never rinsed it, and I always did. That small plastic container broke me. Not the receipt. Not the earrings. Not even the Airbnb. It was that container. Because I had been washing his dishes while he was buying another woman dessert. I wanted to run upstairs and wake him. I wanted to throw the receipt at his face. I wanted to ask her name. But something kept me still. Maybe exhaustion. Maybe instinct. Maybe the little voice women ignore until it becomes screaming. Do not confront him until you know more. So I started scrolling. 1 month back. Then 2. Then 3. At first, I only saw normal charges. Groceries. Gas. Pharmacy. Mortgage. Minimum payments on cards. Then I noticed a pattern. Small charges hidden between regular ones. A florist in Naperville. A boutique jewelry store. A wine bar downtown. Another Airbnb. This one in Milwaukee. For $189. I checked the date. September 7th. That was the weekend Jason told me he was helping his brother paint the garage. I remembered packing him sandwiches. Turkey Swiss, mustard on rye. I remembered wrapping them in foil and writing his name on the bag like we were still young and sweet. He had kissed me on the cheek and said, "You take such good care of me." My stomach twisted. Yes, I did. That was the whole problem. I took care of him so well that I forgot to check whether he was taking care of me. I opened the credit card app next. My hands shook as I typed the password. For months, Jason had handled most of the finances. Not because I could not. Because he said it stressed me out. He said I was already working too much. He said he wanted to protect my peace. Now I understood. He was not protecting my peace. He was protecting his access. The credit card balance was worse than I expected. Much worse. We owed $28,000. I blinked at the number. 28,000. Last month, Jason told me it was around 16. He had looked tired when he said it. Ashamed. I had reached across the table and touched his hand. "We'll fix it," I told him. He had nodded slowly. "I don't deserve you, Em." At the time, I thought it was gratitude. Now it sounded like a confession. I clicked into the statements. My chest tightened with every line. Restaurants I had never been to. Hotel deposits. Ride shares late at night. A spa in Oak Brook. A women's clothing store. And then one charge made me stop breathing. Luna Fine Jewelry, $1,275. Luna. That name sat in my mind like a match. Not because I knew a Luna. Because I had seen that word before. I walked back into the mudroom and grabbed Jason's coat again. I searched every pocket. Nothing. Then I checked the small inside pocket near the zipper. My fingers touched paper. A tiny gift receipt. Same store. Same amount. There was a handwritten note on the back. Can't wait to see you wearing this. Jay. I sat on the floor. Right there in the mudroom. The tile was cold under my legs. Rain tapped against the back window. And upstairs, my husband was sleeping like a man with nothing to fear. I do not know how long I stayed there. 10 minutes. 20. Maybe longer. Then my phone buzzed. A text from my sister, Natalie. You home safe? I stared at it. Natalie knew I had been tired. She knew I was working myself thin. But she did not know how bad it had gotten. Nobody did. Because I had repeated Jason's version to everyone. We are paying down debt. We are being responsible. We're in a tight season. I typed back. I'm home. I found something. She replied immediately. What kind of something? I looked toward the stairs. Jason shifted in bed above me. The floor creaked softly. I typed. I think Jason is cheating. And I think he's using my second job to pay for it. The 3 dots appeared at once. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. Before Natalie could answer, another sound came from upstairs. Jason's phone rang. Not his usual ringtone. A softer one. A private one. Then I heard his voice through the ceiling. Low. Careful. Tender. Hey, baby, he whispered. No, she just got home. I stopped breathing. Jason's voice came through the ceiling, low and soft. Hey, baby, he whispered. No, she just got home. She. Not a client. Not his brother. Not a coworker. She. I sat on the mudroom floor with his coat in my lap, my phone in one hand, and the gift receipt in the other. Rain tapped against the window like tiny fingers. Upstairs, Jason kept talking in that careful voice he used when he wanted to sound gentle. The same voice he used with me. I know, he said. I miss you too. My stomach folded in on itself. I pressed my hand over my mouth because some ugly sound was trying to come out. Not a scream. Not a sob. Something worse. Something that would have given me away. Natalie's text appeared on my screen. Call me right now. I could not. Not yet. Above me, Jason laughed softly. A private little laugh. The kind he had not given me in months. With me, he was tired. With me, he was stressed. With me, he was the man carrying debt, bills, pressure, and a broken knee that still hurt when he wanted sympathy. But with her, he sounded light. Young. Alive. And I was sitting downstairs in my work clothes, smelling like beer and fried wings, holding the receipt for her earrings. Friday still works, he whispered. I told her I have the quarterly review. Friday. I closed my eyes. I was scheduled to work Friday night at the bar. Jason had encouraged me to take that shift. He said the overtime would help us get ahead. He said, one more hard month, Then we breathe. Now I understood why he wanted me gone. I slowly stood up. Every bone in my body felt heavy. I walked into the kitchen, turned off the light, and slipped into the downstairs bathroom. I locked the door quietly, sat on the closed toilet seat, and called Natalie. She answered before the first ring finished. What happened? I tried to speak. Nothing came out. Emily, she said, softer now. Are you safe? That question broke me. Because I had not even thought about safety yet. Only betrayal. Only humiliation. Only money. I'm downstairs, I whispered. He's upstairs talking to her. Natalie went silent. Then her voice changed. Calm. Focused. Do not confront him tonight. I want to. I know. Don't. He's calling her baby. I know. I worked 14 hours while he took her to Lake Geneva. There was a sharp inhale. What? I told her everything I had found. The restaurant. The earrings. The Airbnb. The hidden ringtone. The credit card balance. With every detail, the bathroom felt smaller. Like the walls were closing in around the woman I used to be. Natalie did not interrupt this time. When I finished, she said, "You need copies of everything." I took screenshots. Good. Send them to me. I looked at the bathroom door. Upstairs, the floor creaked again. "I feel insane," I whispered. "You're not insane," she said. "You're finally looking." That sentence stayed with me. Because it was true. For months, I had felt something was wrong. Jason was colder. More private with his phone. Strangely tense whenever I came home early. He flinched once when I touched his laptop. He said I startled him. I apologized. That memory made my face burn. I had apologized for almost catching him. Natalie told me to email the screenshots to myself. Then to change my banking password. Then to check whether Jason had opened any cards I did not know about. At first, that sounded extreme. Then I looked at the $28,000 balance again. Extreme had already happened. I just had not been invited to see it. I spent the next hour collecting proof. Quietly. Carefully. Like I was moving through someone else's house. I saved the restaurant receipt. The jewelry receipt. The Airbnb charges. The wine bar. The florist. The spa. Every transaction that looked like romance funded by my exhaustion. Then I opened our shared calendar. That was when the pattern got worse. Every time I worked a night shift, Jason had a client dinner. Every Saturday I picked up extra hours, he had a golf thing. Every weekend I said no to rest, he said yes to her. I compared dates until my vision blurred. March 12th. I worked a double. He bought flowers. April 6th. I covered another server's shift. He booked a hotel in Madison. May 21st. I skipped my niece's school concert for the bar. He paid for dinner at a place with candlelit tables and valet parking. I had missed family moments to pay for his affair. That thought hit like a physical blow. It was not just money. It was time. My body. My sleep. My life. He had taken hours I would never get back and turned them into wine, jewelry, and soft hotel sheets for someone else. At 3:34 a.m., Jason came downstairs. I heard him before I saw him. Slow steps. Careful. Maybe he noticed the kitchen light had been on. Maybe he sensed something. Maybe men like him always feel the room shift when control starts slipping. I was standing at the sink, pretending to drink water. He paused in the doorway. "Why are you still up?" I turned. His face was sleepy, but his eyes were alert. That scared me. Not because he looked violent. Because he looked ready. Ready to explain. Ready to lie. Ready to make me question what I had seen with my own eyes. "I couldn't sleep," I said. He rubbed the back of his neck. "You okay?" There it was. The gentle husband. The concerned husband. The man who could spend $1,275 on earrings for another woman, then ask if I was okay in our kitchen. "I'm tired," I said. He walked closer. Then quit the bar. The words stunned me. I stared at him. "What?" He leaned against the counter like this was casual. "I've been thinking. Maybe it's too much for you. You're emotional lately." Emotional. Lately. My chest tightened. He was already laying the ground. Already turning my exhaustion into a flaw. "You said we needed the money," I said. "I know," he replied. "But not if it's making you unstable." Unstable. The word landed cold. Not tired. Not overworked. Not used. Unstable. I looked at his face and saw something I had missed for years. Jason did not only lie after being caught. He prepared lies before he needed them. I forced myself to stay calm. "Maybe you're right," I said. His expression softened with relief. "Yeah, maybe I should quit." He smiled. A small smile. Too quick. "Good. I think that's smart." And right there, in that tiny smile, I understood. He did not want me working less because he loved me. He wanted me weaker. Less cash. Less independence. Less proof. Less reason to check the accounts. I nodded slowly. "I'll think about it." He stepped closer and kissed my forehead. The same kiss from earlier. This time, I did not freeze. I let him do it. Because I needed him to believe I still believed him. When he went back upstairs, I waited 5 minutes. Then I opened his laptop. I knew his password. Our dog's name and our anniversary year. For a man hiding an affair, Jason was careless in the places he felt entitled. His email was still logged in. I searched the word Airbnb. 3 confirmations appeared. Then 5. Then 7. Different cities. Different weekends. Different lies. My hands started shaking again. Then I searched Luna. Nothing. I searched Baby. Nothing. Then, for some reason, I searched Avery. I do not know why that name came to me. Maybe I had seen it flash on his phone once. Maybe my body remembered what my mind had dismissed. One email appeared. Subject line: "Can't wait for Friday." I clicked it. There were no long love letters. No dramatic confessions. Just one short message from her. I booked the place. Bring the necklace this time. And don't forget what you promised about Emily. My blood went cold. What he promised about me. I read that line again. And again. Then I heard Jason's footsteps upstairs. Coming toward the stairs. I closed the laptop halfway. Not all the way. Just enough so the screen dimmed. My heart was beating so hard I could hear it in my ears. Jason's footsteps moved across the hallway upstairs. Then stopped. For a second, the whole house held its breath. I stood in the kitchen, barefoot on the cold tile, with his laptop in front of me and another woman's email burning inside my head. Don't forget what you promised about Emily. My name. In her message. Not hidden. Not accidental. A promise about me. I wanted to open the laptop again. I wanted to read more. But Jason was coming down the stairs. So I grabbed a dish towel and started wiping the counter like a woman who had not just found the edge of her own life. He appeared in the doorway. His hair was messy. His face was soft with sleep. But his eyes went straight to the laptop. "What are you doing?" he asked. I kept wiping. Couldn't sleep. He looked at the laptop again. "Why is that out?" I forced myself to shrug. "You left it on the table." He walked closer. Too close. I could smell his toothpaste. And something else under it. A faint perfume that did not belong in my house. "I thought you were going to bed," he said. I was. He smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. "You're acting weird tonight." There it was again. The little push. The quiet label. Weird. Emotional. Unstable. Words he could use later if I ever told the truth too loudly. I folded the towel slowly. "I'm just tired, Jason." He reached for the laptop. I moved before I could stop myself. Not much. Just half a step. But he noticed. His hand paused in the air. "What?" he asked. "Nothing." His expression changed. A tiny flicker. Suspicion. Then he laughed softly. "You checking up on me now?" The old Emily would have apologized. The old Emily would have said no, of course not. The old Emily would have felt guilty for standing near a laptop in her own kitchen. But that woman was somewhere behind me now. Still hurt. Still shaking. But not in charge. "I saw the Airbnb charge," I said. The room went silent. Not loud silent. Dead silent. Jason stared at me. Then he blinked once. "What Airbnb charge?" The lie came so fast, it almost impressed me. "The one from Lake Geneva," I said. His jaw tightened. Then he looked away. "Oh, that? $600. A hotel night. A woman. A whole betrayal wrapped in one tiny word." "It was for work," he said. "At an Airbnb?" "Yes." "With dinner at Maribel?" He looked back at me. And I knew he understood. The receipt. The coat. The earrings. For half a second, his face emptied. Then he became someone else. Not my tired husband. Not the man asking me to deposit tips. A stranger in sweatpants. Cold. Calculating. "You went through my pockets?" I almost laughed. That was where he wanted the story to begin. Not with the affair. Not with the money. With my hands in his coat. "You told me to wash your sweater," I said. "So you searched me?" I found a receipt. "You searched me," he repeated. His voice sharpened. And suddenly, I could see the path he was building. If I defended myself, we would never reach the truth. We would stay trapped in whether I had invaded his privacy, while he spent our money on another woman. I took a breath. "Who is Avery?" He went still. That name landed harder than the receipt. Harder than the Airbnb. Harder than the earrings. For the first time, Jason looked afraid. Not guilty. Afraid. How do you know that name? He asked. The question told me everything. I stepped back from him. What did you promise her about me? His face changed again. This time, anger came first. Emily, you need to stop. No. What did you promise her? He lowered his voice. Do you hear yourself? I stared at him. You spent our money on her. Our money? He snapped. You mean tips from some bar? My whole body went cold. Some bar. The place I limped home from at midnight. The place I worked while he slept in another woman's rented bed. The place funding his lies. You told me we were drowning, I said. We are. Then why are there 7 Airbnb confirmations? He froze. I saw it. A flash of panic. There were not supposed to be 7. I was not supposed to know that number. His hand moved toward the laptop. I grabbed it first. He reached again. Give me that. No. Emily. No. For 1 second, I thought he might take it from me. Then his face softened. Too quickly. Just like Daniel in those stories women warn each other about. Jason stepped back and rubbed his forehead. I messed up, he said quietly. The sudden confession stunned me. I was embarrassed, he continued. I didn't know how to tell you. I almost wanted to believe him. That was the dangerous part. Even with proof in my hands, some tired piece of me wanted him to explain it in a way that hurt less. He looked at me with wet eyes. It wasn't love. My throat tightened. Then what was it? He swallowed. A mistake. I thought of Lake Geneva, Milwaukee, Madison, Naperville, jewelry, flowers, spa charges, 7 Airbnb confirmations. A mistake doesn't need a calendar, I said. His expression hardened again. There he was. The real Jason kept coming through the cracks. You have no idea what I've been dealing with, he said. Then tell me. He laughed once. Cold. You wouldn't understand. Try me. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he said something so strange, I forgot to be angry. Avery helped me when you couldn't. I blinked. When I couldn't? You were always working, he said. The words hit me so hard, I almost stepped back. Always working. Because he asked me to. Because he said we had to. Because he told me our marriage depended on it. And now he was using my sacrifice as his excuse. I whispered, this is insane. He looked away. No. This is marriage. No, I said, my voice shaking now. This is insane. I opened the laptop fully. Jason lunged toward me, but I had already clicked back into the email. My eyes scanned the message again. Then I saw the attachment under it. A PDF. Named, Emily Separation Plan. PDF. My breath stopped. I clicked it before he could reach me. The document opened. At the top was my full name, our address, a list of debts, a proposed division of assets, and one line highlighted in yellow. Establish emotional instability before filing. I stared at those words. Then at my husband. Jason was no longer pretending. His face was pale. His voice dropped to a whisper. Emily, close the laptop. I did not close the laptop. Jason stood across from me, pale and breathing hard. For the first time in our marriage, he looked afraid of me. Not because I was dangerous. Because I could see him clearly. The document glowed on the screen between us. Establish emotional instability before filing. I read the line again. Then again. Each time, the words got uglier. This was not just an affair. This was preparation. He had been building a story about me before I even knew there was a story. You were going to say I was unstable? I asked. My voice sounded too calm. That scared him. I could tell. Jason swallowed and reached toward the laptop again. Emily, you don't understand what that means. I pulled it closer. Then explain it. He rubbed both hands over his face. It's legal language. Avery found some template online. It doesn't mean anything. Avery. He said her name like she belonged in our kitchen. Like she had some right to write plans about my life. My money. My home. My sanity. She made a separation plan for our marriage? I asked. Jason looked away. That was answer enough. I scrolled down. My hands were shaking so badly the trackpad barely worked. There were sections. Debt positioning. Marital home strategy. Emotional record. Witness preparation. I clicked my tongue against the roof of my mouth, trying not to fall apart. Because if I cried, he would use it. If I screamed, he would use it. If I broke right there on the kitchen floor, he would probably write it down. Under emotional record, there were notes. Short lines. Cold lines. Lines that turned my exhaustion into evidence. Emily cries after late shifts. Emily has become suspicious and paranoid. Emily struggles with sleep. Emily reacts strongly to financial stress. My eyes burned. I remembered every one of those moments. Crying in the shower after working 16 hours. Lying awake because I was scared we would lose the house. Snapping once because Jason bought takeout after telling me not to spend $12 on lunch. He had watched me suffer. Then he had labeled it. Not as proof I was trying. As proof I was unstable. I looked up at him. How long have you been documenting me? He said nothing. How long, Jason? His jaw tightened. You're making this sound worse than it is. I almost laughed. There it was again. The soft rewrite. The gentle eraser. Worse than what? I asked. An affair? Hidden debt? A plan to make me look crazy. He stepped closer. Keep your voice down. I glanced toward the dark windows. It was almost 4 in the morning. No neighbors were awake. No one could hear us. But he still wanted me smaller. Quiet. Manageable. I picked up my phone and took pictures of the document. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Jason's face changed. Emily, stop. I kept going. Stop taking pictures. I photographed the highlighted line. The debt section. The Airbnb confirmations. The email from Avery. Then Jason reached for my phone. I stepped back so fast my hip hit the counter. Do not touch me, I said. He froze. For 1 second, something dark moved across his face. Then it disappeared. He raised both hands slowly. See? He said quietly. This is what I mean. My skin went cold. He had just tried to grab my phone. And now he wanted to turn my fear into proof. I finally understood the plan. He did not need me to be unstable. He only needed me to react. One loud argument. One emotional text. One broken glass. One voicemail where I sounded desperate. Then he could show people the version he had been preparing. Poor Jason. Overworked wife. Money problems. Emotional outbursts. Maybe Avery was not the cause. Maybe Avery was his escape. The thought made me sick. I backed away from him. I'm going to Natalie's. His eyes sharpened. No, you're not. It was the first honest thing he had said all night. Not a request. Not concern. Control. I held up my phone. I already sent her everything. That was not completely true. Not yet. But close enough. His face went still. What did you send? Enough. The word hung between us. For the first time, Jason did not know how much power I had. And I watched him understand that. I grabbed my purse from the chair. My car keys were by the door. My body wanted to run, but I forced myself to move slowly. Calmly. No drama. No scene. Nothing he could use. Jason followed me into the mudroom. Emily, listen to me, he said, softer now. We can fix this. I reached for my coat. He stepped in front of the door. Move. He shook his head. You're exhausted. You shouldn't drive. I looked at him. The man who had sent me into night shifts for months. The man who let me drive home half asleep from the bar. Now suddenly, he cared if I was tired. I'll call Natalie, I said. His eyes flicked to the phone again. Then the doorbell rang. Both of us froze. Jason turned first. I checked my phone. A message from Natalie lit up the screen. I'm outside. Get your purse and come now. Relief hit so hard my knees almost gave out. Jason saw my face change. Who is it? He asked. I did not answer. The doorbell rang again. Then Natalie's voice came through the door. Emily, open up. Jason lowered his voice. You brought your sister into our marriage? I stared at him. No, I said. You brought Avery into it. For 1 second, he looked like he might argue. Then Natalie knocked hard. Jason, I know she's in there. Open the door. His whole expression changed. Not guilt. Calculation. He stepped away from the door and smiled. A strange, calm smile. Then he called out, "Natalie, she's having a rough night. I think she needs rest." My stomach turned. There it was. The public voice. The concerned husband. The version he had already rehearsed. I opened the door myself. Natalie stood on the porch in sweatpants, a winter coat, and fury all over her face. Behind her, our neighbor Mrs. Alvarez was standing by the sidewalk with her phone in her hand. Natalie looked past me at Jason. "Funny," she said. Because she sounded perfectly clear when she sent me her separation plan. Jason's smile vanished. And that was when I realized Natalie had not come alone by accident. Natalie had brought Mrs. Alvarez for one reason. A witness. My sister knew Jason better than I thought. She knew he would soften his voice the second another person appeared. She knew he would stop being angry and start being worried. She knew he would try to make me look fragile before I could explain what he had done. And he did exactly that. Jason stepped into the doorway, his face calm now. "Mrs. Alvarez," he said gently. "I'm sorry you're seeing this. Emily's exhausted. She's been working too much." I almost laughed. There it was again. The story. Already polished. Already waiting. Natalie looked at him like she wanted to slap the concern off his face. "She's exhausted because she's been paying for your girlfriend's Airbnb," she said. Mrs. Alvarez's eyes widened. Jason's jaw tightened. "Natalie, this is between me and my wife." "No," Natalie said. "It stopped being private when you wrote a plan to call her unstable." His face changed. Just for a second. But long enough for Mrs. Alvarez to see it. I held my phone against my chest. The screenshots were there. The receipt. The charges. The email. The separation plan. For the first time that night, I was not alone with the truth. And that mattered. Because when a manipulator is alone with you, he can twist the room. But when someone else is standing there, the air changes. Jason turned to me. "Emily," he said softly, "please don't do this in front of neighbors." I looked at him. "You did it in front of another woman." His expression hardened. Natalie stepped closer to me. "Get your purse." I already had it. "Keys." I nodded. "Phone charger." I looked back toward the kitchen. My charger was still plugged in near the counter. Jason noticed too. "I'll get it," he said quickly. "No," Natalie said. "I will." She walked past him before he could stop her. Mrs. Alvarez stayed on the porch, watching everything. Jason hated that. I could feel it. He hated having an audience he could not fully control. Natalie came back with my charger, laptop, and the printed receipts I had left on the counter. She had moved fast. Like she had planned for this. "Let's go," she said. Jason reached for my arm. Not hard. Just enough. Just enough to look like concern if someone wanted to believe him. But Mrs. Alvarez saw it. "Let her walk," she said. Her voice was quiet, but sharp. Jason's hand dropped. I walked out of my house at 4:17 in the morning with my purse, my laptop, and the clothes I had worn through a double shift. I did not take my wedding ring off. Not yet. That came later. Some things your heart needs a little time to release. Natalie drove me to her apartment in silence. I sat in the passenger seat, staring at my phone. Jason called 7 times. Then he texted. "You're making a huge mistake." Then, "Your sister is poisoning you." Then, "Avery means nothing." Then, "If you leave like this, I can't protect you." That last message made my skin crawl. Protect me from what? The debt he hid? The woman he loved? The story he was building? Or himself? Natalie glanced at my phone. "Do not answer." "I'm not." "Screenshot everything." "I am." My voice sounded empty. Too calm. The kind of calm that comes after something inside you is overloaded. At Natalie's apartment, she made coffee I did not drink. Then she opened my laptop at her kitchen table. "Okay," she said. "We make a timeline." I looked at her. "It's 5 in the morning. And your husband has a document saying you're unstable," she said. "So we make a timeline while everything is fresh." She was right. So we built it. Date by date. Shift by shift. Charge by charge. Every time I worked late. Every time Jason spent money on Avery. Every lie he told me. Every message where he called me emotional, tired, paranoid, dramatic, or unstable. By sunrise, The pattern was ugly enough to stand on its own. He had not just cheated. He had used my labor to finance it, then used my exhaustion to discredit me. At 8:03 a.m., I called my boss at the dental clinic and told her I had a family emergency. At 8:30, Natalie called a divorce attorney. At 9:15, Jason sent a photo. Not of himself. Not of our house. A screenshot. A message I had sent him 2 months earlier. I feel like I'm falling apart. I can't keep doing this. Under it, he wrote, "You see? I've been worried about you for months." I stared at the message. My hands went cold. He was already using my pain as evidence. Natalie leaned over and read it. Then she said, "Good. Let him send more." What? Every time he tries to prove his story, he proves he had one ready. That sentence steadied me. A little. Then my phone buzzed again. This time, it was not Jason. It was an unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then a text came through. "This is Avery. We need to talk before Jason ruins both of us." I stared at Avery's message until the letters blurred. "This is Avery. We need to talk before Jason ruins both of us." For 1 second, I felt nothing. Then anger came up so fast it almost scared me. Not sadness. Not curiosity. Anger. This was the woman from the receipts. The woman from Lake Geneva. The woman who got the earrings. The woman who knew my name was inside a separation plan. And now she wanted to talk. Natalie saw my face. "What is it?" I turned the phone toward her. She read the message and her mouth tightened. "Oh, she has nerve." I almost agreed. But something about Avery's wording stopped me. "Before Jason ruins both of us." Not before I ruin him. Not before you find out. Both of us. That meant she was scared too. Or pretending to be. I typed nothing. Avery sent another message. "I know you hate me. I would hate me too. But you don't know the whole story." Natalie shook her head. "Do not meet her alone." "I'm not meeting her." "You're thinking about it." I was. That was the problem. Not because I wanted to forgive her. Not because I wanted some tearful explanation. But because Avery had been close enough to Jason to know things I did not. And right now, information mattered more than pride. I wrote back, "You can talk to me here." 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. Not by text. He checks things. My skin tightened. Natalie leaned closer. "Ask her what he checks." I typed, "What does he check?" Avery replied almost immediately. "My phone. My email. My bank account. Everything." The room went very still. I did not want to feel anything for her. But fear has a sound, even in a text. And hers sounded real. Natalie sat back slowly. "Well," she said, "that changes the temperature." Avery sent one more message. "He told me you were abusive with money. He said you controlled everything and made him beg." I laughed once. A dry, ugly laugh. I had been working nights to pay his debt. And he told her I controlled the money. Of course he did. Every lie had to make him the victim. Every woman had to be the rescuer. I called her. Not from my phone. From Natalie's. We put it on speaker and recorded the call. Avery answered on the first ring. Her voice was younger than I expected. Soft. Shaky. "Emily?" I did not say hello. "What did he promise you about me?" She went quiet. Then I heard her breathing change. "He said he was filing after Christmas." My hand tightened around my coffee mug. Christmas. 2 months away. "He said he had to prepare first," Avery continued. "Because you would try to destroy him financially." Natalie closed her eyes. I asked, "Did you help him write the separation plan?" Avery started crying. "I found a template. He said he needed it for his lawyer." "I didn't know he was using your work schedule. I didn't know about the second job at first." "At first?" She sniffed. "He told me later. He said you insisted on working because you liked making him feel guilty." For a moment, I could not speak. I had stood behind a bar until my legs shook. And he had turned that into cruelty. Avery whispered, "Emily, I'm not asking you to forgive me." "Good," I said. Natalie touched my wrist. "Not to stop me. To steady me." Avery continued. "He owes money. We know about the credit cards." "No," Avery said. "Not just credit cards. My stomach went cold. What else? He borrowed from someone at work. And from my brother. And I think there's a loan in your name. The room disappeared. Natalie sat up straight. What loan? She asked. Avery hesitated. I don't know the details. I saw a document once. It had Emily's name on it. Jason got furious when I asked about it. My hands began to shake again. Not from heartbreak this time. From fear. Because Jason had handled the finances for months. Because he knew my social security number. Because we had opened accounts together. Because I had trusted him with the boring parts of life. The parts that can ruin you quietly. Avery lowered her voice. He said once that if you left, you'd leave with debt. I felt like the floor had dropped beneath me. Natalie whispered, we need to pull your credit report. Avery said, there's more. I closed my eyes. I did not want more. But more was already coming. He kept a folder, she said. Screenshots of your texts. Photos of bills. Notes about when you cried. He said it was protection. Protection. That word again. Men like Jason always called control protection. They called surveillance concern. They called betrayal confusion. They called the truth an overreaction. Where's the folder? I asked. On a flash drive, Avery said. He keeps it in his truck. Jason's truck. Parked in our driveway. At our house. With the proof of the plan sitting inside it. Natalie looked at me. No, she said immediately. But I was already standing. Avery's voice rushed through the speaker. Emily, don't go there alone. Please. He knows you left. He might be waiting. I grabbed my coat. Natalie stood too. We call the attorney first. And if he destroys it? She did not answer. Because we both knew Jason was not stupid. Careless, yes. Entitled, yes. But not stupid. My phone buzzed again. Jason. This time, his message was short. Come home before I start making calls. Jason's message sat on my screen like a threat. Come home before I start making calls. For a moment, I just stared at it. Not because I wanted to go back. Because I finally understood what he meant. He was not begging. He was warning me. Calls to my boss. Calls to his family. Calls to anyone who might believe the version he had been building. Poor Jason. Unstable Emily. Exhausted wife. Financial pressure. Emotional breakdown. Avery's voice was still shaking through Natalie's phone. Emily, please don't go there alone. I looked at my sister. Natalie already had her keys in her hand. We're not going alone, she said. She called the attorney first. Then she called the non-emergency police line and explained that I needed to retrieve personal belongings and financial evidence from my home. She did not make it dramatic. She stayed calm. Factual. Clear. That helped me more than she knew. Because Jason had made me afraid of my own emotions. At 11:20 that morning, I pulled into my own driveway behind a police cruiser. My little brick house looked normal. That almost hurt worse. The pumpkins were still on the porch. The mailbox still leaned slightly to one side. Jason's truck was parked near the garage. The same truck I had helped him pay off. The same truck where Avery said he kept the flash drive. Jason opened the front door before we knocked. He looked at the officer. Then at Natalie. Then at me. His face went blank. You brought police to our home? Our home. Suddenly, he remembered that word. I'm here to get my things, I said. His eyes moved over me, searching for weakness. He did not find enough. The officer explained that everyone needed to stay calm. Jason smiled tightly. I'm always calm, he said. Natalie made a small sound beside me. I did not look at her. If I did, I might have laughed. And I needed every part of me steady. Inside, the house smelled like coffee. Jason had made a fresh pot. That detail made me angry in a strange way. I had been awake all night, watching my marriage collapse, and he had been standing in our kitchen making coffee like a man preparing for a meeting. Not a reckoning. A meeting. I packed clothes first. Work pants. Jeans. Medication. My passport. My birth certificate. The small jewelry box from my grandmother. Jason watched from the hallway until the officer told him to give me space. Then Natalie went to the kitchen and photographed the laptop setup again. I walked toward the mudroom. Jason moved fast. Where are you going? To get something from the truck. His face changed. Just a flicker. But I saw it. So did Natalie. So did the officer. Jason laughed softly. My truck? Emily, come on. I held out my hand. Keys. No. The officer stepped closer. Sir, is there a reason she can't retrieve shared property or personal documents from the vehicle? Jason's jaw tightened. It's my truck, Natalie said, paid from their joint account. Jason shot her a look. Then he pulled the keys from his pocket and dropped them into my palm. Hard. Like that tiny act was all the power he had left. Outside, the air was cold. My fingers shook as I unlocked the truck. For a second, I remembered happier things. Road trips. Hardware store runs. Jason singing badly on purpose while I laughed beside him. It hurt to realize those memories were real to me, even if he had been false in the end. Natalie stood near my shoulder. Where would he hide it? I opened the glove box. Registration. Napkins. Old sunglasses. Nothing. Then the center console. Receipts. Gum. A phone charger. Nothing. Jason was watching from the porch now. His arms were crossed. His face was calm again. Too calm. Then I remembered something. The truck had a small compartment under the back seat. Jason used to keep emergency tools there. I opened the rear door and lifted the seat. There was a black pouch tucked behind a tire gauge. Inside was a silver flash drive. Natalie whispered, "Got it." Jason stepped off the porch. "That's mine." The officer turned toward him. "Stay where you are." Jason stopped. But his face finally showed it. Fear. Real fear. We did not open the flash drive at the house. The attorney told us not to. We took it straight to her office. Her name was Marcia Bell, and she had the kind of voice that made panic feel unnecessary. She copied the drive with a witness present. Then she opened the files. There were folders. My name. Avery's name. Debt. House. Timeline. Inside my folder were screenshots of private messages. Notes about my moods. Photos of bills. A draft letter to my boss. And one document that made my whole body go cold. A personal loan. $22,000. Opened 8 months earlier. In my name. With an electronic signature I had never given. For a while, nobody spoke. Then Marcia said, "Emily, this is not just divorce evidence." I already knew. But hearing it from her made it real. Over the next few weeks, the truth moved faster than I expected. My credit was frozen. The loan was disputed. My bank opened an investigation. Marcia filed emergency motions. Jason tried exactly what the document said he would try. He told people I was unstable. He told his family I had snapped. He told my boss I was having serious emotional issues. But he had made one mistake. He had written the plan down. Every accusation had a date. Every lie had a receipt. Every concern matched the folder he had built before I even found Avery. Avery gave a statement too. I did not forgive her. Not then. Maybe not ever. But I believed her when she said Jason had lied to her as well. He told her I was cruel. He told me she was nothing. He told both of us whatever made him look like the wounded man in the middle. That was his real talent. Not romance. Positioning. By spring, the divorce was moving. Jason had to leave the house. The loan fraud investigation continued. Some money was recovered. Some was not. The credit card debt became a legal fight I never wanted but had to face. And my second job? I quit the bar. Not because Jason told me to. Because I finally understood my body was not a resource for someone else's lies. The first Friday night I stayed home, I cried in the shower. Not sad crying exactly. Release. My feet did not hurt. My phone was not full of his instructions. No one was asking me to deposit cash. No one was telling me we were almost through the tight season. I made grilled cheese for dinner. Then I sat on the couch with Milo beside me and listened to the quiet. For months, quiet had felt lonely. That night, it felt like mine. I still think about that first receipt sometimes. The one from Maribel. $386. Dinner for 2. Chocolate dessert. Wine. A note about earrings. At first, I thought that receipt proved he loved another woman. But later, I understood it proved something worse. He was willing to let me break myself while he enjoyed the life I was paying for. That is the part one we'll never forget. Not Avery. Not the jewelry. Not even the Airbnbs. The hardest truth was that sacrifice only means something when both people are honest about what they are sacrificing for. I thought I was saving my marriage. He was using my devotion to fund his escape. And the woman I became after that did not stop loving. She just stopped confusing loyalty with self-abandonment. Now, when someone says, "We just need to tighten up," I ask to see the numbers. When someone calls me emotional, I ask what truth they are trying to avoid. And when love asks me to suffer quietly, I no longer call it love. Because real partnership does not spend your exhaustion on someone else. Real love does not make a plan to call you unstable. And a marriage is only worth saving when both people are telling the truth. Thank you so much for watching this story until the end. If this story touched you, made you think, or reminded you of someone you know, please give this video a like. And if you want to hear more emotional stories about betrayal, love, money, secrets, and painful life lessons, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one. Also, tell me in the comments, what would you have done in her place? Until the next story, take care of yourself and remember, real love should never make you lose yourself.